Hi everyone, my name is Nick Decker. I'm the blogger behind Breakfast with Nick, although you can call me Dr. Breakfast, because I have a PhD actually.
I love it.
Yeah, and I spent 5 years earning that, so I'm going to embrace it.
Please do.
Thank you. I also love breakfast, so hence Dr. Breakfast. But I'm excited to be able to chat with Brandon Bir, who is the Director of
Education and Sustainability.
Education and Sustainability.
Yep.
I got it. And stuff for Crimson Cup Coffee. So, thanks for taking time to chat.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So, how did you end up in the coffee business? How did that become a career path for you?
Man, it's like a mystery, right? Well, I grew up in rural Indiana, so there wasn't much thought of coffee.
Okay.
I think, coffee was, what is it? You can stand a horseshoe in it as good or something like that. So I grew up with, canned coffee, and I think when I was 12, I went to a garage sale and I purchased my first espresso machine.
Oh, you went straight to espresso.
I went straight, but of course with milk. It had a steaming piece on it, so I think it took about 25 minutes to make one drink on this thing, because this is very inefficient, but I did it, and it was scary because amount of pressure, and but I would foam milk, and I would make little cappuccinos, and I used to use my allowance to go down to a 100-year-old grocery store. It's called Beckstein's, German grocery store. A beautiful family. My entire, my sisters worked there and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
And, I'd go down there and they had an 8 o'clock coffee grinder. And it was the only whole bean coffee that I'd ever seen in my entire life. And I would buy 8 o'clock coffee and I'd grind it just so I could smell it. And my parents would be like, "You're using your allowance for this?"
Go buy some comic books or something.
No, they're like, "Sweet, thank you." Because they're the ones that consumed it. I would just grind it and be like, maybe make that one cappuccino because it took so long.
Right.
So they reaped the benefit of me liking coffee.
Wow.
But I went to culinary school, and I always knew that I had a palate. I used to spend allowance on going to local grocery stores to buy different fruits that I've never tasted before. Wasn't a big vegetable fan, but man, did I try and taste about everything 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So just fell into it. Fell into Columbus, Ohio, and fell into coffee management, and then went from assistant manager to manager, and then I started doing some training, and then fell into Crimson Cup, and I've been here. This next month will be 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
That's awesome. Congrats. And what do you do in your role now for Crimson Cup?
I do multiple things. So I am a course contributor. So I write coffee curriculum, sensory analysis curriculum for the Specialty Coffee Association.
Wow, that's a big deal.
So that's one thing that I do. I've devoted a lot of time and effort to learning about sensory analysis and understanding how we taste coffee and how we perceive coffee and nuances of coffee. And, because I think that quality is a driver to sustainability. Which leads me to the other part of the thing that I do for Crimson Cup is I work on a lot of sustainability issues. So I travel a lot to meet farmers. I've done different experiments in different coffee producing countries. I've set up a couple quality control labs, and one in Uganda, one in the central jungle of Peru. And spreading education, because I think that education is the key to fostering growth and sustainability within coffee. So I do that, and then I also, roast a little bit, taste a little bit, and teach baristas a little bit, and speak a little bit, and I dabble in about everything. I just am passionate about coffee, and I love what I do.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. And how does that translate on the consumers and thinking of people who come to the variety of Crimson Cup shops or other coffee shops? I know this is a big question, but you putting in that work of traveling and getting and developing these direct relationships with farmers, how does that benefit us, the consumer?
It's a more meaningful cup, and it's really hard to convey that message to a typical consumer.
Right, over a short transaction.
I've got family, they look at the cup of coffee and they're like, it's just a black cup of liquid.
Yeah,
that's
that
it.
milk
And And for me, it's growing up in a farming community, I know that there's things and people behind the products.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
having a cup of coffee, there's people that pick that, and typically they pick that by hand. I mean, unless we're talking about grocery or we're talking about gas station coffee, that's very ambiguous coffee. But the coffees that we bring in are super intentional. And we work directly with farmers to again foster education relationship so that we can increase the quality of the cup. So when a customer comes in to Crimson Cup, and I do believe that it's a very meaningful cup of coffee, they're casting their economic vote with that purchase, and it's allowing us to inject more resources into a growing community so that they can grow. It's just an interesting way of doing things, and I think it's a beneficial way of doing things, and a very intentional way of doing things.
And that's great. I think you guys do a good job of communicating that too, because it's very easy as the consumer to be completely distanced from who grew your food, who harvested it, who all of that stuff. So what went into it.
The thing with that is that a lot of companies that put out the sentiment of doing direct trade. You can look at Green Mountain, or Nestle.
Direct trade.
Direct trade, and the fact of the matter is, you just have to ask questions as consumers. You can't just believe what you see and say, "Oh, this bag says direct trade, so it's got to be a relationship, and it's got to be a sustainable relationship, a responsible source, and these farmers probably got paid enough," just because that tag. When in actuality, if you were just asked questions and say, "How much did you pay?" or not specific to how much you paid, but how are you benefiting that growing community? Are you just taking pictures of the growers? Because that's not really doing a
doesn't do them a whole lot of good.
It does humanize the cup, which is a good thing, but at the same time, I think that when you ask questions to your coffee provider, your coffee roaster, your coffee cafe, I think that if they get tripped up and they're not able to answer some specific questions, then like I said though, not a lot of people believe in transparency in the cup. There are some companies that do. I think that it's beneficial, but it can also hurt farmers, because information can be interpreted in many different ways. But if you ask specific questions about relationships and about intentionality, I think that most people should be able to answer those. And if they can't, it's time for you to question even further and maybe look for another coffee.
Which that makes sense. For people who are trying Crimson Cup for the first time or buying some of your beans, do you have a particular roast that you recommend as a good starting point?
Sure. So I think that if you're trying to get into specialty coffee, a lighter roasted coffee is going to bring out more of the nuance of the actual coffee rather than the roast profile. So once we hit a certain point in the roast process, we start to create carbon. So we turn the cellulose of the coffee into carbon, and it creates carbonic acid, and a lot of people like that flavor, that dark roasted flavor. But what that does is that most of the time coffee is dark roasted to disguise the true flavors of the coffee. So really good coffee, like what we're drinking here, which is the Ethiopian Costa Cabina. It's a light roasted Ethiopian heirloom variety from the Limu region. I was just there a few weeks ago. And the farmer is doing amazing work, but this coffee in particular has a ton of nuance. It's very fruity, and it's got tangerine and cherry notes, and it's sweet. And so we light roast the coffee to bring out those nuances, and those would be lost if we continued to
just blasted it.
So I think if someone's trying to get into it, look for a light roasted coffee. We have several on our website. There's also a ton of local roasters. And a lot of guys in town and a lot of gals, a lot of guys are doing really fantastic work. So just go out and explore the local scene and enjoy a really good cup of light roasted.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for chatting, man.
Absolutely. Dude, it's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, good stuff.